So, here we go again. I'm going to finish these guys off. What I like to do with the colours is to lay them out in front of me on my desk so I know what's next. It's out of focus, but I'm not going to mess with it. This is one I've discovered recently. It came with that Storm, can't remember what it's called, Stormcast or something. The Age of Sigmar magazine that's currently out in Australia. Catachan Flesh. I was originally using some sort of generic brown paint, but this stuff's been really good. So the hair is the same color as the basing. Now that I remember right, I was trying to multi-use paints because I only had a limited sort of set. Catachan Flesh for the hair. Then I'll move on to the goal. So I should just sort of explain this. The goal is to paint things without going too close to one another. Sorry, dropped my brush. So, as you can see, we started out with, some tunics and that sort of thing. Waited for them to dry, did the cross belts and moved on. But now, if we did the hair and then came through and did the faces, there's a chance that the hair might not be fully dry, even though we're doing, huge amounts of stuff. The hair doesn't take that long. And so the goal is to move away from an area and then paint another area. It's not super complicated. It's just sort of general batch painting advice that someone gave me. So we're going to do the hair, then the end sword, sort of garden pommel and grip there. That just gets a dot of silver, and the end of all the pikes will get a bit of silver. That'll keep away from the hair. Then move on to the kilts in various sort of sashes there. For the Scottish ones, I painted them in sort of fake tartan. It looks good from a distance anyway. It'll fool you. So for these I'll do red, and I'll keep the entire unit the same. So these sort of what they're going to look like. A little too thick, I think, on some of those, but the effect is basically just, across the table. You see that, and you're like, oh, that kind of looks like a kilted tartan type thing. I'm not painting actual tartan, not minis, they're small. Then Elven Flesh. This is just generic, sort of bright red and silver, but again, it's just bright silver, bright red. I'm not tied to brands, as you can see with the setup in front of me. Elven Flesh for the skin, which in this one, almost all these is just the face. So it's just boom, 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 just the face only on the front, because there's no face at the back. So that's quite a quick one. These are all quite quick sort of steps, which is why I move them away from where the paint touches one another. And finishing up with khaki for the gloves. So you see here, the first kit that came out was the generic kit, and it had kind of weird hand placement, but you can see that's been fixed with this. They're in sort of natural positions. I'll put a picture up of the regular, rank and file stuff, and you'll see how the hands look a bit strange, but that's obviously been fixed for the Covenanters, which is cool. So let's get started with the hair. So faces and hair and beards. Some of these guys have beards you can see sculpted on.
In cold bleak wet November, beside the Pentland Hill, at Rallion Green where we stood, many men were killed. But we were taken prisoner, dragged by the Earl's Dragoons, through the streets of Edinburgh town. Stay, passenger, take note what thou reads. At Edinburgh lie our bodies, here are our heads. Our right hand stood at Lanark, these we want, because with them we swear the covenant. On the gallows in the grass market, we stood all in a row. They hanged us and they butchered us to make a grisly show. Our spirit was not broken, our heads held up high, for what we believed we would die. Stay, passenger, take note what thou reads. At Edinburgh lie our bodies, here are our heads. Our right hand stood at Lanark, these we want, because with them we swear the covenant. From Forth to Clyde to Solway Sands, men were buried where they died. Wives were shackled to the rocks and drowned in the rising tide. Some were sent off to plantations, some perished on the brine, all in Scotland's killing time. Stay, passenger, take note what thou reads. At Edinburgh lie our bodies, here are our heads. Our right hand stood at Lanark, these we want, because with them we swear the covenant. Now the reeking dark November calls the winter in once more. 300 years have passed since the covenant we swore. The leaves fall all about the stone to brown and golden turn, and memory flows down the cuts of burn. Stay, passenger, take note what thou reads. At Edinburgh lie our bodies, here are our heads. Our right hand stood at Lanark, these we want, because with them we swear the covenant. Stay, passenger, take note what thou reads. At Edinburgh lie our bodies, here are our heads. Our right hand stood at Lanark, these we want, because with them we swear the covenant.
As you can see, you can't even really notice it from the front, except on a few of the beards. And from the back, it sort of helps blend in with that dark uniform tone, which is highlighted by the bonny blue bonnet there. Yeah, so you can see the brown hair sort of helps tie it all in a bit. Okay, so moving on to the silver. And you can see we don't even need to let that dry really, because we're moving on to another colour that's not going to be anywhere near it. So the hilts of the swords, I'm going to call them that, even though I think they've probably got a different name, but I suppose hilt works. The only hilt we can see is on the end here. You can see all the others are covered, and whatever ones are sort of there won't even matter. And it's exactly the same with the top as before, laying it down sideways, coming in with the brush, and just picking out the pike tips. Yep, you can see that's sort of the effect we're going for. It'll take a bit more coverage to get all of it, because of course you're coming with a 3D object in 2 dimensions, so I'll touch those up off camera, but I'll do the front just so you get the image. I never quite got the hang of painting things on camera, just because of the way it's sort of awkward to walk around and make sure you get everything in frame. I probably got half of this out of frame. Let's quickly touch these up. And finishing off here with the end, of course, just the last little hilt. And once that's done, you can see there, it sort of blends right in with the edge, but it has to be bright, because once the wash hits it, it'll dull it down a bit. So, we've done this. You can still see, I don't know if you can see that the brown is not quite yet dry yet, which is why we're not doing the faces yet. So we can move on to the red. Generic bright red is what I would recommend. This one's Evil Sun's Scarlet, which is a Games Workshop thing. Don't particularly have any loyalty when it comes to paint, as I've said a million times. So the red, we are doing a sort of kilt tartan, let's say tartan, because that's what we're actually doing, whether they're kilts or not. So I can get these in frame. I do them all the same color. You could probably break it up if you want. Again, I've hit that Pike, but it's easy fix. Much easier than fixing the other way around.
To the Lords of Convention, 'twas Cleaver House smoke, ere the King's crown goes down, there are crowns to be broke. So each cavalier who loves honour and be, let him follow the bonnets of Bloody Dundee. Come fill up my cup and come fill up my can, come saddle my horses and call out my men, unhook the Westport and let us get free, for it's up with the bonnets of Bloody Dundee. Dundee is mounted and he rides up the streets, the bells they ring backward, the drums they do beat, and the provost and Usman says just let him be, for the tune is well rid of that devil Dundee. Come fill up my cup and come fill up my can, come saddle my horses and call out my men, unhook the Westport and let us get free, for it's up with the bonnets of Bloody Dundee. There are hills beyond Pentland, there are lands beyond Forth, be there kings in the south, there are chiefs in the north. There are brave Dewey Wassels, 3,000 times 3, fly high for the bonnets of Bloody Dundee. Come fill up my cup and come fill up my can, come saddle my horses and call out my men, unhook the Westport and let us get free, for it's up with the bonnets of Bloody Dundee. Then away from the hills to the lee to the rocks, where I only usurper I'll crouch with the fox. So tremble thoughts wakes in the midst of your glee, ye no seen the last of me bonnets and me. Come fill up my cup and come fill up my can, come saddle my horses and call out my men, unhook the Westport and let us get free, for it's up with the bonnets of Bloody Dundee. Come fill up my cup and come fill up my can, come saddle my horses and call out my men, unhook the Westport and let us get free, for it's up with the bonnets of Bloody Dundee.
And by now the hair, you can see, has dried enough. This is the back. The hair has dried just enough that we can go in with to do the faces. Again, normally you're doing 8 strips at a time, so it's not that big a deal. But it's always good to have wet paint away from where you're putting new paint down, just in case you accidentally mix. The only really important thing to know about the faces is to make sure you leave the beard. See, I've missed a beard there. Really wouldn't be able to see it, so again, I'm not going to worry touching it up. If it was a front rank figure, I might do it, but again, you're not going to notice that guy has a beard. I can't even really see it with my eye. So this camera's obviously much better than my eyes are. So the idea is to just hit the top. like that. And that's part of not doing the bonnets until the very end. That's one of the reasons. So it's either straight across for the ones with beards, like that, for the beards, and for the ones without beards, say this fella here, I generally go bottom to top. There we go. So again, we're sort of going for an effect more than an actual coverage. There we go. So you can see they're becoming a little more human now. They get the faces. I'm going to come in with the khaki, and you can see they look positively ugly and hideous while it's still wet like that. But thank goodness we have the black washers. They're going to do a lot of work on these middies. And no, I don't paint the belt buckles. They're not worth doing at this scale. Okay, let me do the hands with the khaki, and then we're done. As you can see, this is taking a lot longer than it normally would. Normally I'd batch paint for maybe 2 or 3 hours and knock out at least half of the battalion, the battalia. I'd sort of get it about halfway finished. Yeah, anyway, let's jump in with the khaki. This is a new bottle, so I'm going to use my old one, which the label has worn off. That's one of these Vallejo paints seem to lose their labels quite quickly. But anyway, the khaki. We'll do the gloves, and then I think we're done. So the glove goes a bit over the wrist, although just like that. So that's all it is. It's just a quick hit of the fingers on one. But you can see, so that's sort of the hand there, and you could do a little bit more. But I like to go up to sort of do a gauntlet type glove, rather than just a cufflink type thing, than a cuff type thing. Sorry. So for your English Civil War or 30-Year War models, they might have specific regimental cuffs that you could do. But on these Covenanters, I like to just do them as though they had big heavy gloves on. So some of them you notice don't actually have hands on the front. But that's a pretty shoddy job there. So not all of them have hands on the front. But if you turn it around, you'll notice that they have hands on the back, which is kind of nice. So we'll just touch those up gently there. And it's pretty, this one has not got a lot. It's only got the 2 on the end. If I'm standing this close to a bunch of other men, I'd rather have the hands sort of where I can see it rather than hanging around the back. So again with the edge figure, we've got to be careful not to let it sort of get left out. So just a little bit of extra stuff on the end there, and it's completely out of frame. Great. So this is our painted strip of Scots Covenanters. It looks messy. It's not actually finished yet because we've got to go and do the tartan and everything. But this and this are the exact same thing, just with a bit of black wash on it. And the bonny blue bonnets. I'm not going to go do the crosses, I don't think. At least not at this stage. Maybe at the very end when I'm feeling bored, I'll go through and do everything. But anyway, yes. I'll give these a wash and then show you how to finish them off.
Okay, so like a dummy, I unplugged my mic to do something else, and I forgot to plug it back in when I recorded this. So here's the strip after the black wash. This is Nuln Oil Black, the Games Workshop one. I prefer Army Painter dark tone, but I've run out because I use it so much. Careful not too dark. Some of the stuff I've got to use a really dark ink-like tone, and I wasn't very happy with it. So as you can see, it basically just gives a little bit of definition. Now we're going to come in with the white to just do the tartan-esque sort of fake tartan thing. Bit too heavy there, but it's easy for me to say that, 2 weeks later. Anyway, I decided not to film. Oh goodness! I decided not to film completely everything. I didn't do the basing, for example, but the basing is fairly easy. It's just very light sand with a thin layer of PVA, light sand, put it on, catachan flesh, dry brush it with the khaki, and then hit it with the static grass. Anyone who's ever based anything with sand knows how that works. So yes, as you can see, the tartan is super simple. There's a few seconds. You're going for a Mass Effect look, not necessarily a neat, tidy sort of thing. I don't know what I was saying here. I'm sure it was good. I seem to be talking quite a lot. So this is the final version with the blue bonnets, essentially. So that is done with, I'll put it on screen, a very light blue, and here you can see the other strips I was painting at the same time. Notice how the sergeant's got a green sleeve on there, and a red tassel on the halberd. You can see the command strip in the back. I wish I would have showed you that up close. There's a few details on that I'd like to pick out. Come on, pick it up. Anyway, so what I'm showing you here is that you just pick the front strip off, and so the front strip stays glued down. You pick the rear strip off one of the sticks, which I'm doing now off camera, and plugging it in, and I super glue it into the bottom. You can see there how it sort of works. It's very, yep, there's a finished one. I've done it before. Not sure why okay, so you can see how the two strips line up with one another there. Sorry, I'm doing this at like 11 o'clock at night just before I go to bed so I can get this uploaded. That's the basing. So you can see it's very simple, catachan brown, catachan flesh with a dry brush of khaki, and you hit just enough of the feet to show sort of some sort of shoe-like thing if you wanted to show shoes. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you'd like any more of these sort of videos, let me know in the comments below. I'm getting the main Pusher Pike box, so I can do some royalists who will be doing up to go up against these guys. So if you enjoy that, let me know in the comments, and thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.